In the settings of Full Self-Driving Beta, there are multiple modes which you can select that gives you some type of input on how the car is going to drive itself when it tries to get from point A to point B. There's human mode, which just basically means off. Chill mode, in this profile, your Tesla will have a larger follow distance and perform fewer speed-based lane changes. The average setting, in this profile, your Tesla will have a medium follow distance. And the assertive setting, in this profile, your Tesla will have a smaller follow distance, perform more frequent speed lane changes, and will not exit the passing lanes. Assertive used to also roll stop signs more frequently before the NHTSA took away the ability for Tesla to roll stop signs in Full Self-Driving Beta. And the even funnier part about that is I actually get honked at during this drive while making a complete stop at the stop sign, and that's it. I made a complete stop, and as I'm making the complete stop, somebody honks because they expect me to roll it. So I wanted to test out these different modes to see if there is a huge difference in the way the car drives when you select these different modes. So what you're about to see is 4 drives I did back to back, same day, one right after the other in each different setting. So first, I just drove the route all by myself without having used beta once at all. Now feel free to criticize my driving here. I rolled, I think, pretty much every stop sign, and I think I was speeding for some of it, which beta will not do unless you tell it to do. And you can also check out how I use the yoke. I know there's a lot of questions on how the yoke is used when you drive and make turns. I really enjoy it, but you can see for yourself how I use it. I then took the car through the same route 3 more times in each different setting. I used chill, and then average, and then assertive. Each drive will be displayed all at the same time, and they will all be labeled in the beginning so you can see which is which, and the audio is coming from my final drive, which is the assertive drive. In the audio, I will compare how the car did in different sections. Now, of course, they don't line up exactly because traffic isn't exactly the same, and I caught some red lights in some drives where they were green in others, but I was surprised at how close the drives actually came. Me driving myself took about 15 minutes total. Average also took about 15 minutes, whereas chill and assertive both only took 14 minutes. I was pretty sure that I was going to be way faster than beta, at least by a few minutes, because of rolling stop signs, speeding, and just driving better in general than beta does. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe beta is a lot more capable than I think, and the discomfort from beta more comes from losing control and letting the car do things rather than it actually doing anything wrong. Between every drive, I put the car into park, chose my drive setting, closed and reopened the menu to confirm the correct profile, and then put the car into drive and put on Full Self-Driving Beta from the same spot every time. The software version for this drive is 10.10.2. I tried to release this earlier, but I was on vacation, so yeah, my 10.11 drive is coming. But anyway, this is on 10.10.2, and as far as we know, there haven't been any changes to these different profiles, so this should still give us some pretty good information. And I also mentioned something about interventions at some point during the drive. I only had a couple. I had no disengagements on any of these runs, which is really cool for beta. 10.10.2 has been very good for me. I did have a couple of interventions where I pressed the accelerator pedal. This is pretty much just at the roundabout, and in my experience, beta pretty much always stops at yield signs at roundabouts, which is not the right move if the roundabout is clear. And when people were behind me, I didn't feel the need to let the car stop for no reason and annoy them. So if people were behind me, I did press the accelerator to move through the roundabout. The drive isn't incredibly long, but it includes a lot of different driving scenarios, including unprotected lefts, right and left turns from stop signs and traffic lights, a roundabout that's traveled through twice during the route. We turn left across 4 lanes of traffic that are separated by a grass divider in the middle, which I purposefully put in there because I thought it was going to give the car trouble. And there's also a section with a good amount of pedestrians to get the car interacting with pedestrians. So hit like, get subscribed, check out these drives, and let me know how you think they compare down in the comments. So as we go through here, the conditions have actually been pretty similar for each run, but of course it's not going to be exactly the same. Whoops, that was my bad. And I've done them all back to back. So weather is the same, temperature is the same, traffic of course will be slightly different. And now like this creep is probably the worst one so far, and we're on assertive. So I will say, I don't want to give it away. So there's our first speed bump. So that's been pretty consistent throughout each run. Little faster than I would do, but it's an okay speed. So we're turning right here. We have a stop sign, and there is traffic coming that doesn't stop. They're going about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So we'll see how the car handles that. Let me turn that for you. We have one more car, and then we can go. So as normal, a little timid for beta, but then we move on. So handled pretty well, not bad at all. Been pretty much the same on every run. So now we're going to come up to this roundabout, and I will say pretty much every time I've come to the roundabout, except maybe once so far, I have hit the accelerator to move through. because that's just a fact of beta right now. For whatever reason, they want to stop at the yield signs at roundabouts. I don't know why. Even if nobody's around, no vehicles, no people, I will wait as long as I can, as I always do, but I don't want to, screw up the people behind me, and we just know it's something beta does. So there, beta did that all by itself. I did not interact with it. So that was pretty good. But if you come up to an empty roundabout and there's like 3 cars behind you, well, beta's going to stop and annoy everybody. So the interventions you see, I'll put an intervention read on each drive, of course, except the human drive. Is just going to be accelerator presses. Those are the only interventions I did, and I just was kind of talking to myself to make note of every time I did that. The other kind of interesting thing, so this is the first time I think we had a green here, so this is handled really well so far. The other interesting thing to think about would be how many times would, in my drive, you can pick on my driving all you want, I don't care. I tried not, I knew I was being recorded, but I tried to just drive normally. How many times would I have gotten a ticket? How many times did I not drive exactly to the letter of the law versus beta? And I think for the human, it's way, way, way more often where I'm either going over the speed limit or rolling a stop sign, whereas beta, unless you make it do those things, doesn't really do any of that anymore anyway. So yeah, let's let this drive go. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna cut it up and speed it up and everything. I'm sure the drives won't line up exactly, but I think they should be close enough. So making this lane change, this is later than on the average setting, but about the same time as the chill setting. So that lane change was, it was good every time, but different in the different settings. I know I did it immediately because I was like, well, I'm making a left turn, I'll stay to the left. And then I was thinking about the people commenting about me being in the left lane, even though it's not a highway, but that's all right. Okay, so we need to get into this left turn lane. It's the busiest it's been so far. And a little bit of hard braking, but the car does get over at a good time. I am holding the steering wheel. Please don't yell at me. And we're in the left turn lane. This is the first time we've had a red here. Every other time we had a green, and I will say it handled it perfectly. Every green. So we'll see if it does this time as well. All right, so we have our green light. Beta starts to move forward. I would be going a little faster just to make sure I made it through the green. Not that there's anything wrong with this, especially since we did make it through the green, but we're going fast. So that little bit of slowdown there that I haven't seen on the other ones. I don't know if it was because a bunch of pedestrians were coming towards us, but the left turn was handled pretty much perfectly. So this far into the drive, I guess I don't need to worry about spoiling it. I will say mild, or chill, sorry, I don't know why I think it's called mild. The chill setting was next to perfect. The only intervention I had was one time I pressed the accelerator at the roundabout. Other than that, chill was like magnificent. Going into the average setting, right off the bat, it wasn't very good with the left turns and some of the other things, like right as the drive started, and I was really surprised to see such a stark difference. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be due to the settings, but that's kind of what we're testing here, and so that kind of stuck out to me. So far, aggressive or assertive is doing fine. Nothing really sticking out too much, so we stop. We should go here. That's good, that's good. And then we're going to wait for this pedestrian, which is perfect, and we should continue. Come on, let's go. So a little awkward, but really nothing too bad with that. You should wait till they're out of the street completely. So now I need to change. You will see on the average drive, I did hit the brake up here because I forgot to change my route, and it was gonna take a wrong turn. So slowing for this pedestrian. This is the first time we've had pedestrians here, but handling it perfectly. It did slow for this speed bump here in previous drives as well. But the pedestrians kind of took care of that. So we're not going. I need to tap the accelerator there because the guy behind me, like, he's going to bump into me. I mean, not really, but you could tell he was like, what are we waiting for? Now, see, this guy behind me is looking decently aggressive. Probably hard to tell in that camera. But I'm going the speed limit. I don't really want to go any faster anyway, especially when you never know if a pedestrian is going to jump out in front of you. So this intersection, again, chill handled it perfectly. Average was bad. I had to push the accelerator, I think, through here because it just like would not go. So we make a complete stop, which is legal. See, we're getting honked at, and like there's somebody in this intersection. We made a complete stop at the stop sign. Whoa, what are you doing? Okay, now that screw up, it hasn't done before. Okay, I didn't have to intervene. I don't know what it was doing there. So yeah, we make a complete stop at the stop sign and get honked at. So that's why Tesla initially didn't have complete stops at stop all the time, complete stops. They rolled them because that's, you know, a more natural thing to do, technically illegal, whatever, that's a whole other topic. But we made a complete stop. There's a pedestrian in our driving path, so it's not like we can just continue and we get honked at. It's just so funny. But it led up to that too, is the other slowness that the person experienced from us before. But that's fine. I'm really not worried about it when we're being safe and driving responsibly. So this intersection has been handled fine every time from my memory. There's nobody here this time, but we have had cars here before and it was handled fine. Do have a scooter coming from the left. Is she gonna go? No, she turns. Okay, so continuing, perfectly handled. So this stretch might be a tiny bit boring, so it's the perfect time to tell you about today's video sponsor, Webull. You can deposit 1 cent and get 5 free stocks worth up to $9,600. What the heck? That's insane. So you can use my referral link below. You can also get $5 of free crypto if you do 1 crypto trade worth only $1. So thank you, Webull. That's it. Nice and fast. I like their ads. They're quick. So going into this area, there are some more pedestrians here. The car may need to stop for them. No, handles it pretty well. So this guy's going to walk out in front of us. Car is slowing appropriately for them. Doesn't slam on the brakes. Doesn't ignore them. So that was handled really well. And then I need to change the route again because I'm talking. Hopefully it can. Okay, it does correct in time. So that's really good. So we stop. And we can continue, except it's looking at this guy here. Yeah, and it sees that he's going to go. So that person was like, screw this pedestrian, I'm out of here. And my car's like, well, this guy's about to walk in the road. I think I'll wait for him. So that's a little too slow. Come on. So this is, okay, whoa, and then a big takeoff and a brake. What is assertive? Okay, so far I'm learning that, like, so I didn't intervene there. I did accidentally tap this with my thumb. So far I'm learning that chill is sick. Like, chill was such a nice experience. The accelerating was still good. It's not like the acceleration was slow. The maneuvers were all good. It handled all the situations really well. Now, this is just one small test loop, but it did have a lot of scenarios. And again, chill handled it like next to perfect. So I don't know. That's pretty interesting. All right, so we have caught this red light every time. The car has turned the turn signal kind of on and off as we sit here, but I notice when it turns green, it turns it back on right away, so that's kind of an interesting choice. We have to go all the way past that median to turn left. On chill, it was a little awkward, just a little strange. It kind of slowed down and moved around kind of weird. On average, it did it pretty much perfectly, although it does move as you move through this intersection. The car on both settings had moved to the right just a little bit, so we'll see if it does that here as well. So the light turned green. It did turn on the turn signal before the light turned green, so I don't know, some kind of timing thing. But doing a really good job going past the median and handling this turn pretty, yeah, so that was pretty much perfect. So the only one that wasn't a perfect left turn there was chill. Just a little bit of awkwardness with the wheel and the speed, but it still did it all by itself. All right, so coming up to this red light, I've noticed acceleration and deceleration on all settings seem to be very similar and very smooth. Sometimes as you're coming to the end of a braking session, like right here, it'll brake a kind of tiny bit too hard for just a second and then go back to the normal braking. But it didn't happen this time. It didn't happen every time. I think it happened only on average, or maybe it was chill. It's hard to remember. So we get the green light, and also taking off once lights are green has been very good. Sometimes it keeps up with traffic. Sometimes it actually, the Tesla will go faster than the cars around me. So that shows me it's not delayed in any meaningful way, which is great. Going around this bend, we'll have the roundabout one more time, which, you know, if no one's behind me, I'll let it kind of pause and stuff, as long as it doesn't confuse anyone around me. Otherwise, I will press the accelerator, because again, we just know that that's something it's really not set up to do right now. So overall, I'll say, you know, it's kind of hard to tell with, we had a lot of scenarios here, but the loop is a little small. Mild was by far the best. It makes me want to continue using it in the future. So like, I'm going to press accelerator because there's someone to our left and coming up behind us. I don't want to confuse them. So I just give it a tap, and then the car kind of moves through here. Every setting, why are you stopping? Wow, that's interesting. So the FedEx truck was coming at us kind of fast, so maybe the Tesla was being cautious of that. I will say every setting did pretty well. Besides on this one, some of the weirdness with the turns and stuff was strange and caught me off guard because I had already done this exact route twice without those problems. So wow, following this guy in, okay, a little aggressive there, but and then okay, kind of weird, kind of a weird like that. Like what is that? None of the other two settings didn't do that. So I'm gonna tick over there. That's the end of the route. Yeah, I don't know. It makes me want to use chill, like. Every time. I'm going to try it from now on. I'm going to keep it on chill for a while and see if in all of my routes I really can notice that big difference. So you might have to watch this one a couple times to really get a good feel for each route. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have any comments, leave those down below. We can talk about this drive, and you will see me and Full Self-Driving Beta in the next video.
So Autopilot and I are happily driving along